リスト翻訳始まるよ。
皆さん、こんにちは。花です。今日、メダリスト第21話を見てます。皆さん、見てくれてありがとうございます。We are headed to Niigata to see our favorite coach, Uobuchi, and he, of course, is voiced by my favorite voice actor in the entire whole wide world, so I'm really excited that he's already coming back. I do want to say, I think I kind of misunderstood something in the last episode. I have to go back and watch, and I do just want to say, I oftentimes kind of miss the point in certain aspects, not because I'm not paying attention, but because it is very hard to get, the entire idea when the camera is on. So sometimes I might go down a rabbit hole that doesn't make a lot of sense, so I apologize. But apparently, Inori was actually struggling to land any jumps above singles. She wasn't landing her doubles or her triples that day. And I do believe it was because it was really messing with her that not only did Tsukasa get hurt when helping her, but he got hurt quite bad. And that's a pretty common thing. Skating is very mental. So if your coach were to really hurt themselves trying to help you, it is very natural for the skater to feel like it is their fault. I never experienced that. Coaches don't fall very often, but it is definitely scary when they do. But in that case, he fell and majorly hurt himself. So hopefully going back to Uobuchi will help a little bit with whatever's going on in her head. I have half a mind to think it might not, since it's more of a mental block than anything else. It might be kind of a struggle for her to be what she was before Tsukasa hurt himself when Uobuchi was there beforehand. So I'm hoping that he can fix it a little bit, but I'm wondering if we're going to explore the mental block that Inori is experiencing a little bit more in this episode, but we're gonna find out. Oh my god, if we're getting more Tsukasa backstory, I'm gonna freak out. Is that a dream or is that an actual memory? They're really giving us Tsukasa backstory in little tiny pieces. It's driving me crazy, man. Maximum emotional pull. All right, we are in Niigata. I would be exhausted. I'd be like, I'm not jumping. My body will not leave the ice. He's just cramped because he's in his late 20s. He's a titan in her mind. All right, is this actually okay? I'm a little nervous this isn't gonna go the way they're hoping, but we're gonna find out. If it's a mental block, I don't know if it's something that he can do, but we're gonna see. Hot passion. This is really random, but it literally reminds me at my sectional championships last weekend, which was in Spokane, Washington. The rink that it was in was a lot older than most rinks where I train. And I was telling my husband, I was like, it's got a classic rink, a retro rink feel. But on the outside, not this sign for the rink, but they have a little sign that says come and skate with us. But there was letters missing throughout. So it was stay with and we were just kind of laughing at that because it was maybe you should fix that for a competition that's bringing in so many people. But it's interesting because I feel in America we have a good mix. There are a lot of really nice brand new rinks that are super clean, really big, have tons of space, have multiple sheets of ice. But then there are also tons of really old rinks where it's one tiny sheet of ice and there's pretty much no other room. There's not even a lobby. You walk in, it's instantly cold. It's a very interesting dynamic, I guess, because you have these brand new rinks, but I feel a lot of the really well-known skaters are actually training on the super old ice rinks. The rink that I started on was one of those really old rinks where it was just one sheet of ice. There was no lobby with heating, so all the parents would have to sit in the bleachers and freeze the entire time. And that was the rink that Sasha Cohen trained at, who was our last Olympic medalist in the US prior to Alyssa Liu doing that literally a month ago. So it's interesting. But then there's also other skaters where it's like they train at like the most new, awesome, huge rink with 5 different sheets of ice. I don't know if there's a rink out there that have 5 sheets of ice. That might be a slight over-exaggeration, but you get the point. So it's kind of like what kind of rink are we gonna get? Are we gonna be in like a really old rink that's like falling apart at the seams, but the ice is great? Or are we gonna be at a rink that's like brand spanking new? He looks very sleepy. He has not even opened his eyes yet. He came from another world. Yes, he did. He was fighting demons all night. That's why he won't open his eyes. I have to stop. I'm so sorry. Private ice is the best. I'm almost hoping this doesn't, because I want them to explore the mental block that she's feeling more. He is a great coach. He's just able to connect with the skaters very easily, even though he doesn't seem to be someone who is like a regular coach. He's just a specialist that goes around all over the place. Yeah, he already knows that it's like a mental block probably. So he's wanting to kind of, yeah, he wants to get her feeling normal. Single or triple? Oh. I wonder if he knows the full story and knows that he hurt himself, like Tsukasa did it, because it is quite obvious the moment he said, Tsukasa, you do it, like Inori was instantly like, she's freaking out. So he is like trying to help Tsukasa because he wants to coach Inori, but also he's like, okay, if you're gonna do it, like I want to help you, which not a lot of these types of coaches would do, because a lot of times, since this is his specialty, he obviously travels all over the country, and this is what he does, is that he puts these skaters in these pole harnesses and helps them land jumps. A lot of times coaches who do that would not be willing to help like their primary coach, which is what Tsukasa is for Inori, learn how to do it, because then he would be out of a job if all of the primary coaches knew how to do it. So he's a very kind person. But I am wondering if it's because he knows there's a mental block and he's really trying to get Inori through this mental block when he's wording it as a way to help Tsukasa. Let's see. Okay, so he knows. This is the best way to go about it, I think. I like this character. He's such a good guy. As expected. He should be able to catch on very quickly. And this isn't even talking about the fact that I think the only reason why it happened is because of the freaking hole in the ice. Like, he tripped while she was jumping and he had no option. It wasn't really because of her and what she was doing. Like, yeah, partially because she was getting so much distance and he had to adjust and it was a little bit more tough for him. But it's mostly because he hit a hole in the ice. Like, that's really the only main reason. Yeah, that would be really bad. But Uobuchi is doing the right thing here. They're so funny. They're both bringing out. He's just like, yay! That's all things that can happen. I feel like we've established that the show knows what they're doing when it comes to like train. Yeah, so he had to do a lot more work with that and try and help her. The thing is, like, this is where it gets really tough, is the reason we use things like harnesses in this sport is because you can tell the skater what they're doing and what they need to change all day long. You can show them what they're doing and what to change all day long. But it can be very difficult for the skater to actually make that change because jumping takes less than half a second. So it can be really difficult to be super aware of your body. So that's why we use things like harnesses, because the coach can adjust like with the skater and make those slight adjustments that they might not realize is happening, but is, because it's the harness that's kind of helping get their axis back on. With Inori, if she is just not tightening properly, she's too loose, then yeah, that's going to cause her to not be able to land it, because you have to be in a as aerodynamic position as possible. That's why some coaches will teach their skaters to actually try and rotate with their arms lower to the body, because that will actually be the most tight to your body. When you rotate with your arms up here, it can raise up your shoulders. I actually do this a lot. My coach is constantly telling me to stop rotating like this because I don't realize it, but it's because in my head, I'm like forcing it around. I'm forcing my rotation by trying to like pull in as tightly as possible. Inori's kind of in the opposite position here, where she is trying to keep it relaxed as possible, and both are not correct. You have to be somewhere in the middle. So I think I'm going way off topic here, but the reason that we use those harnesses is so that you can start to get a feel for those little movements, because you can say all day long, do this, do that, do this, but at the end of the day, it's really difficult to be able to make those changes just by being told. You have to be like forced into those positions. You have to feel it in order to understand what your coach is saying. So when he says like, you might not be able to land it outside the harness right away because I'm having to make a lot of adjustments, that's very normal. This is going a much different way than I was expecting, but it's still good. Let me just start his sentence over. Yeah, she just has to be more aware of what it feels like. In 9 days. Hopefully this helps. Oh, are we going to see him jump? I want to see him jump. Yeah, Lutz is a little bit different. You have to be a little bit more willing to kind of rotate your body around. So I'm only working on my single Lutz because my single Lutz has issues. I take off from a flat, not an outside edge. So my coach and I have been working on it a lot to try and get it on an outside edge, which is really hard when you are a chronic flutzer. Luckily, I don't get edge calls, I get exclamation marks, so I get the same base value, they just have to give me negative grade of execution. So she was just telling me the other day, it works a lot like a counter, which is a turn where you have to counter your body. Most jumps, what makes the Lutz so hard is that it's different from all the other jumps. Most jumps, you just kind of have to keep going with the flow while you jump. It's like, whatever way you're turning, you're just gonna keep going that way. That's why a flip is considered easier, because the skater usually does a 3-turn right before they jump, so they turn from forward to backwards, they pick, and they can just keep going the same direction. But with a Lutz, you're going this way, and you have to actually kind of counter your rotation because you have to switch to an outside edge. That's what makes the Lutz so much more difficult. That's why it's this like pain in so many people's sides, including mine, because in order to do it properly, you have to go against your normal way of rotating. And that's why it's a struggle for so many people. So what he's telling her is correct in like, okay, you have to actually adjust it slightly different because it's a Lutz and you have to counter. So they're doing a great job. They're consulting coaches. He always looks so happy. I love it. Can she usually see when she rotates? That's abnormal. Um, did she just do a quad? That is very lofty. Okay, so he's not necessarily wrong. Okay, so a lot of skaters will jump ahead, you know. In this case, Inori has, I don't think she's even attempted a triple axel before. And the normal way is to go through it jump by jump. You have to wait till you master all of these before you move on to adding a rotation to any of them. Like in the case of going from double to triple, usually skaters will wait until they can master all of their double jumps before they start working on a triple, and then when they start working on a double axel, they'll also work on like a triple sow, a triple toe at the same time. People will jump ahead. It's not entirely uncommon, so I think that's pretty averagely normal. But to be saying, let's try and go for a quad, which she's never done in her life, 9 days before a competition, or 8 days, if that's what we're at now, is pretty intense. Most coaches would not want that, but, you know, in the case of a skater that maybe struggles with a triple Lutz, you know, it might be a good idea. He also was saying all of that stuff before she did a sow instead of a Lutz now, I'm noticing. So yeah, you want to make those adjustments. You want to try and get like a little bit more closure. But I do think like when it comes to teaching most jumps over a Lutz, it's going to be a little bit more like you just got to kind of let the flow go. The Lutz is the one that's a little bit more countery. I didn't realize he was having her do a sow cow. I don't think they specified that. So it still stands. I will also note that we are getting to some very extreme stuff that I have never gotten to. So if my commentary gets a little bit more like, okay, it's because I never did jumps like this, and it is not normal for someone who's been skating for 1.5 years to be learning a quad sow. Especially, like, quads are not super common with women, so. And if the triple sow is that easy for her, like there is an argument to be had that a quad sow could be easier for her than a triple Lutz. And that would be a thing that would put her up against Hikaru. Because at the end of the day, even if she were to nail this triple Lutz, she probably still wouldn't be able to beat Hikaru. Like if their goal really is to go up against Hikaru here, then her doing a quad sow would absolutely be like a huge deal and would get people talking about her over Hikaru. So, you know, go for it. Who are you? Does he know him from, like, the past? Getting more Tsukasa backstory? She's going for it. Whew, okay. This is not where I was expecting this to go, but it's, you know, skaters always have the jumps they're good at and the jumps they're not good at, and many times, like, it makes sense to skip over a couple to do a much harder one. You have to have the timing properly. Yeah, because a lot of it is not just about jumping higher, it's about being able to rotate faster once you start adding rotations. Because she got scared. Because you're scared. That's normal. That's why we pop. This is making me stressed. Okay. We're staying on our feet now. It does move so fast that it's really hard to make those changes. It takes a long time. This is a very short period of time to try and perfect this. I can't believe we're working on Quad Sal. We're moving quickly. Doing this in one day, you can't expect that. You're just gonna keep making the same mistake over and over again. Do it for the feeling of flying. Yeah. Oh boy. She's gonna land this in one day. Oh man. This is crazy. I have thoughts. I'm just trying to gather them because I keep speaking before I'm able to actually gather my thoughts. Mordskasalor. Okay. I wanted to let the scene finish because I feel like I keep just talking too soon. And that's why like sometimes what I say is not in line with what's actually happening is because I'm like too quick to give my thoughts, and I'm trying to work on that. So first things first, so I kind of to go back what Uobuchi was saying earlier when I thought he was talking about Lutz, he was actually talking about the sow, is he was simply trying to get her to have like a little bit more wind up because he was trying to get her to do a quad, essentially, without telling her to do a quad. He was seeing what would happen if he told her to like make slight adjustments with her sow cow to see if how easy it would be for her to add a rotation without even realizing it. That's kind of what he was doing, which some coaches will do. That happened to me when I landed my first single axle, is my coach was having me do what we called bell jumps, where we would do like just one single rotation and land forward, and she would just be slightly tweaking what I was doing and starting to get me into that in-air rotation where I would be over my right side, and then all of a sudden I was landing my axle because I was just able to naturally add a half rotation and land backwards because I was rotating properly. That's kind of what I'm gathering Uobuchi was doing here, which is a very, very, like, you have to know your stuff with skating to know that technique. Inori landing a quad sow on the first day she's trying it. I don't know how to feel about it. I'm not gonna lie. I've seen a lot of people commenting like just a warning, like things are gonna move really quickly. And again, I have to reiterate that I understand this is a manga, this is an anime, Inori is a main character, so things are just going to not happen at a normal pace. My issue is I am sitting here watching this as a skater, and I feel like I just have to call out. Now, just a quick disclaimer, she's well past the level that I have ever gotten, so I have never landed a triple. I've never landed a quad because if I had, I would not be doing this right now. Like, let's be for real, I would be competing against Alyssa Liu, right? So I try and do things where I'm speaking from my own experience. I can't speak to this from my own experience. So take this as you will. I have never once heard of someone being able to land a quad their first day trying. Are there people out there who have done it? Probably. There are prodigies, there are people out there who have probably done it. But yes, there is something to be said about the idea that this triple sow has been super easy for her. She's been able to land it 100% of the time. Like, it's never caused her issues. So there is something to be said about the fact that, okay, in theory, then a quad sow might be easier for her than a triple flip, a triple lutz, a triple axel. That is, in all intents and purposes, normal. Like for me, I did not have my double flip and my double lutz consistent when my coach had me work on double axels and triple sows. Was I able to land them? No, I was not anywhere close to landing them. And I think that's where like my disconnect here is. I don't want to be like super harsh on this because again, like I am aware this is a show. I pride myself in giving it to y'all real. This went a route I was not expecting at all. I don't know how to feel about it. Like I genuinely don't. It's a little bit like this is a lot. We are going for it because here's the thing too, like a quad sow is also something that no one's landing quad sows on the senior level. We have Mao Shimada, who is going to be senior next year, who can do a quad toe. She doesn't land it in competition very often. It's usually only working for her at Worlds, and this World she didn't attempt it, but she was sick. We have Rion Sumiyoshi, who does a quad toe as well, but she also like is 9 times out of 10 not successful on it. So it's just like, it's fact that in the women's event, quads are just not that normal right now. And I'm not gonna get into the conversation of like Alexandra Trusova, Anna Sherbakova, who were of course the gold and silver medalists of the Olympics in 2022. I stand firmly in the I don't want people to be destroying their bodies at a very young age to learn the most difficult jumps. So that's where I'm also like a little bit with it. I have my issues with teaching super young kids these jumps, and I understand that again, it's a story and that it happens and that's just my opinion, so I don't want to dive too deep into it. But I do like, I love the story. I love the way they do things. It still is very correct. Like everything that Uebuchi was saying was like very true, very detail oriented. Like the research is going into the show. They are doing that so correctly. I'm having like just a small issue with the fact that we're doing quad sows. It is what it is. I can't like complain too much because it could happen. Like it's not like it's entirely impossible. Anomalies can happen in this sport. So it's just very like surprising to me to not only be doing it a year and a half into skating, but also be landing it the first day you try. Inori is absolutely a prodigy. We already know that. So, it happens. And also this guy is just like a magician as well. So this definitely did not go the way I wanted, or not wanted, but predicted, because I was like, oh, this is gonna like explore her, like the mental block of what's going on. So going from being like, okay, we're coming to you because she suddenly can't even land her double jumps to, okay, let's land a quad sow. I could have never seen that coming. But yeah, I don't want to sound like I'm just complaining. I think people are aware that like it's moving along a bit faster than normal, partially because it's a show, so it has to, partially because like Inori is a prodigy. So like for all I know, there could be skaters out there like that. I've just never experienced it because my experience with skating is of course personal to me. So there's going to be differences and there's going to be things that I might not agree with. That doesn't mean that it's wrong. It just means that I've never experienced that. And I'm always trying to offer you all my own perspective and my own feelings and experiences with the sport as someone who did it for so long and still does it. So I hope you all understand. I'm not trying to like put down the story in any way by saying this. That's obviously not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to give you that like perspective. And that means that like I'm gonna call out when I think something might be a little bit unrealistic. I did that with Yuri on Ice. I've done that a couple times with medalists and I will continue to do so.
このコーナーでは先週の動画で翻訳が大変なところだったりを紹介するコーナーです。それではまずはこちらから。
Isekai reincarnation came from a skating road where quintuple jumps are them.
はい、前回の動画でここについてコメントしてる方もいましたね。もともと日本語だった異世界は英語のネットスラングとして定着しつつあります。外国語を英語に取り入れたり、新しい英単語ができるときにはある程度法則があって、名詞として使われる単語でも 動詞として使われることが多いです。例えばファックスという商品ができた時も、ファックスでファックス送信するという動詞として使われていましたし、日本語でもそうですが Google というサービスが定着してきた際に、Google という動詞ができたように、英語でも Google で Google 検索をするという意味の動詞ができました。これら法則と同じように、この異世界も異世界を意味する名詞の意味もあれば、異世界転生するという意味の動詞として使われることもあります。異世界はわかるけど転生はどこから来たんだよ。そういうツッコミもあるかとは思いますが、アニメファンの間ではもう異世界は転生するものとして定着したので、異世界は異世界転生するという動詞になってしまったのだと思います。ただ、花さんはここでは異世界リインカーネーションと言っていますが、これはディズニープラスでの英語字幕がそうなっているからですね。ちなみに、これと合わせて覚えておきたいネットスラングがあります。それはトラックくんです。意味は読んで字のごとくトラックくんですが、これまたいや、トラックくんってなんだよってツッコミが入りそうですね。これは日本の異世界転生作品で、キャラクターたちがトラックに惹かれてしまって異世界転生するパターンが多すぎたせいで、異世界転生させてしまうトラックをトラックくんと呼称するようになったのです。ちなみにゆうとくんはアニメファンの間で通じるだけで、別に一般の英語話者でも継承が通じるわけではありませんし、あくまで異世界もアニメファンの間で使われるネットスラングにしか過ぎません。アニメファンではない人に使っても通じませんので注意してくださいね。それでは次に行きましょう。
Smaller skaters and that sort of thing, and then like gradually get there with like the skaters who are like closer in size to you, because it's all about like where you're shifting the weight, where the axis is, right? So in this case, like obviously he hit a dent in the ice, which makes it a different experience, but like the coach has to be very careful.
これは司がハーネスの使用中に転倒して怪我をした場面ですね。翻訳で苦戦したところとしては、ここのリファレントエクスペリエンスですね。何が違う経験なのかというのをちゃんと把握しないといけません。まずここのコーナーでは少しはしょっていますが、ハーネスの使用中は選手よりもコーチの方が怪我をしやすいこと、そしてハーネスを使用する際に気をつけることについて話していました。最初は小柄な選手で慣れていけば、徐々に自分と同じ体格の選手にも使える、そんな話をしていましたね。つまり小柄な選手でハーネスに慣れていないと怪我をするということだと思います。そしてここでその場合は氷のくぼみでつまずいて怪我をしたと言っています。ここが花さんが言っている違う経験の部分です。要はハーネスの慣れとは関係なく氷のくぼみで怪我をした、そこが違う経験ということになります。長々と説明しましたが、文章にしてもちょっと分かりづらいですし、それを字幕で変に説明してややこしくしてもどうかと思いましたので、ここはそこを端的にまとめて不慮の事故と字幕では表現してみました。ここはセカストも英語ではそういう風に表現するんだと思っていました。もう何回同じことを言ったか分かりませんが、日本語と英語ではやっぱり言い方や表現が全然違うんだなと思いました。では次に行きましょう。
Okay. It looks like he took most of the brunt on his face, which I guess like you can. I've never fallen so far forward.
ここのポイントとしては、How did というのが一体何を指すのかです。別の動画でも似たようなことを言いましたが、英語話者は必ずしもきちんとした文章で話してくれるわけではありませんし、このように文章が途中で途切れてしまうこともやっぱりあります。人間だもの、しょうがないじゃないということですね。ただこれを日本語に直すとなるとかなり苦労することになります。というのもさっき言いましたが、日本語と英語はそもそも全然違う言語なので、目的語の位置が文章の中で全く違う場所に位置してしまいます。しかもここに至っては主語も何なのか出ていませんので、かなり厄介です。しかしその後を見続けていれば何を言いたかったかを察することはできます。ここで打ったのは顔だけのように見えると言っていますし、その後も私は前のめりに転んだことはないけど、そうなるのかもと言ってます。 つまり先ほど言いかけた文章の続きを想像するとこうなります。司はなぜ前のめりに倒れたのに顔の怪我じゃなく肋骨にひびが入ったの？そういうことを言いたかったのだと思います。なのでここの字幕はちゃんと後の字幕とつながるように、なぜ肋骨をという風にしました。この場面は続きを見れば何を言いたかったのかわかりますが、中には続きを見ても何を言いかけたのかわからないこともあります。実際は映画のように全てのセリフに意味があったりするわけではありませんので、そういうこともあります。それもやはり人間だもの、しょうがないじゃないということですね。じゃあそういう時にどういう処理をすればいいのかということですが、まず一つとして字幕に出さないというのもあります。変に字幕を出したら見てる人も混乱しちゃったりすることもありますからね。あとは翻訳者が創作するとかがあります。言いかけたことにはそこまで意味のないものもありますが、あまりにもはっきり聞こえるのに何も字幕に出さないというのも画面的には違和感が出る時があります。まあそこら辺はその時のさじ加減でどうするか適宜判断しています。動画作ってる時にはそういうこともありますよということでした。ちなみにせかすとも肋骨にひびが入ったことがありますが、ひび程度やしまあ問題ないやろとか思っていたら、ある日あまりにも痛すぎて呼吸困難になったこともありました。まあそこら辺は人によるのかもしれませんし、司先生も大概超人の部類なのでひびぐらいへっちゃらなのかもしれませんね。どうでもいい話は置いといて次に行きましょう。
That's a funny translation considering it's like t, but I know he's saying r, which is it looks like the number 3 with a little loop.
はい、ここは翻訳して字幕にしても何のこっちゃわからなかったと思います。ここは司と祈りがしりとりをして遊んでいる場面ですね。当然本編の英語字幕でも2人のしりとりでのやりとりが翻訳されるのですが、日本語と違って本編の2人のしりとりはこんな感じでした。
Apple, elevator, robot, tent.
日本語はリンゴ、ゴンドラ、ランドセル、ルールでしたね。で、ここで司はルとルで始まる日本語を考えてるのですが、本声では視聴者にルと聞こえているのに、英語の字幕ではキと出てるのがおかしいということを言っています。これも映像をよく見てないと翻訳が何気に難しい箇所でしたね。ちなみにしりとりは英語でワードチェーンと言います。ただ日本のしりとりほどポピュラーなゲームではないそうです。そんな事情もあってか、ここの英語字幕はそのまましりとりとなってました。調べてみたらしりとりも一部界隈では英語として通じるのだとか。ただそれでも先ほどの異世界もそうだと思いますが、日本カルチャーに疎い人に対して高難度の翻訳字幕になってるかもしれません。まあそれはさておき次に行きましょう。
It's so cute. It's so wholesome. I love their dynamics so much.
さてここのダイナミクスですけれども、たまに出てくる辞書で引いてもそれっぽい意味が出てこないシリーズですね。ちなみに普通に辞書を引くと動体、運動状態、原動力という意味が出てきました。これではちょっと意味がわかりませんね。こんな時はどうするかというと、例のあれですね。英語でググってスラングというワードを検索にかければ大体において正解が出ます。早速その条件でググるとこんな風な意味が出てきました。人々の間のやりとりや雰囲気という意味だそうです。なるほど、これなら意味が通ると思いますので、せかす隣に翻訳に落とし込むと2人の関係が尊いとなりました。ちなみにラブも普通なら大好きとか愛してるとなりますが、最近の日本語表現に合わせて尊いとしてみました。一瞬テイテイという字幕にしようか迷いましたが、さすがにそれはやりすぎだと思ったのでやめました。このアニメはテイテイ養分も満載なのでありがたいばかりですね。それでは次に行きましょう。
So I hope I kind of got the point across with the pole harness. I don't know how I feel how they're writing it to be in the show because
さて、文字通りこの文章を翻訳するポイントとしては、このポイントをどのような意味として捉えるかにかかっているかと思います。 ポイント自体は辞書を引くと要点、確信という意味が出てきますが、その意味をそのまま採用してこの文章を翻訳してしまうと、私はポール・ハーネスの要点は分かったと思うという文章になり、まるで花さんがハーネスのことを分かってなかったかのようになります。花さんはハーネスのことをこの動画以外でも解説してきていたので、ここまでの流れと矛盾してしまいますね。ハーネスの要点を分かったと言っていますが、その後にハーネスの描かれ方について戸惑いがあるようなことを言っています。なのでここのポイントはハーネスの要点というよりは、この作品においてのハーネスの扱われ方と見た方がいいと判断しました。なのでここの翻訳はこの作品でのハーネスの位置づけという翻訳にしました。今までいのりさんの成長速度はあまりにも爆速でしたが、ハーネスを使った後もさらに成長していたので、経験者目線で戸惑ったのでしょうね。まあ私には本当にハーネスにそこまでの効果があるかなんて判断できませんが、結局どこまで行ってもフィクションだからという話になってしまいます。物語自体は面白いので、そこはご愛嬌ということですね。というわけで今日はここまでとします。よかったらチャンネル登録、高評価よろしくお願いします。それではまた次回お会いしましょう。さようなら。